Well, if you saw the thumbnail for tonight's episode, it says it all. Drew McIntyre has a few targets on his list, and tonight he kind of took care of two of them. Sami Zayn at the beginning of the show, Jey Uso at the end of the show. What's up, everyone? I am Don Tony. It is December 4th, 2023. Welcome to your post-Raw recap review, and then some. Hope everybody's having a good Monday night. Raw just went off the air, and not a bad show. CM Punk not there live, was never advertised, obviously, because last week's Raw, they did not say anything about this week with CM Punk, and they're doing what we pretty much expected. If you heard last Tuesday's show, that they're going to play a little bit of the free agent tease for a little bit more, I think, for this week, because CM Punk being on tribute to the troops, we don't know who he's facing as of yet. Would not be surprised if it's somebody like a Grayson Waller or an Austin Theory. I don't even know if he'll have a match. Maybe he'll just hit someone with the GTS and, that's it. But they're teasing on Monday of next week that CM Punk will be on Raw to sign a contract. Now, if you read between the lines, we learned that while Adam Pearce was talking to Seth Rollins, and, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Seth Rollins is like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Does Seth Rollins interrupt CM Punk next week? Does Drew McIntyre interrupt CM Punk next week? Both are very possible. But tonight, I got to tell you, as far as match quality goes, we had an awesome night of wrestling. Let's be honest. Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, as people like to use the phrase, they cooked today. Much deeper match than I expected. Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax. For me, I thought they kicked ass tonight. They had great chemistry tonight. And yeah, they've worked each other before, but their matches in the past, if you've rewatched some of them, kind of shangada at times. Tonight, I thought they did really, really well. The Creed brothers are here. It took a few weeks for the crowd to really catch on. And you see Damian Priest's reaction after Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough tell Damian Priest, these guys are kind of, the real deal. They're kind of hard to beat. And Damian Priest is a little bit concerned. No Rhea Ripley tonight. No Finn Balor tonight. Don't read anything behind it. Maybe it's just a night off. Remember, tomorrow is NXT, and that is the go-home show, the deadline, so it is very, very possible that Rhea Ripley may just be in Florida waiting to appear on NXT tomorrow with Dominic Mysterio. But I thought today was great. I will tell you this. You and I knew for weeks and weeks and weeks that Shinsuke Nakamura was calling out Cody Rhodes, and we knew that somebody had to keep Cody a little bit busy to close out 2023. Did I expect this match to happen as soon as next week? I hope this ends with some type of clusterfuck disqualification, count out, something, because this deserves a little bit more time. And I don't think anybody would object to see them have a rematch. I know not everybody is thrilled with Shinsuke Nakamura and his current run. I was very surprised how many people were not into Shinsuke Nakamura feuding with Seth Rollins. Yes, it was very abrupt, and at times it was forced. When you don't push Shinsuke Nakamura for a real long time, to suddenly put him in that main event picture, especially when you know that Seth Rollins is not losing the championship, it's not easy to go over the hump. Roman Reigns is a little bit different. Roman Reigns, we know, and we've known for quite some time, he is not losing that championship before WrestleMania 40. So whoever he has a title match with, whether it's Rey Mysterio or Jey Uso or anybody else, people don't mind as much as long as the match is good. because you know pretty much the outcome. You know who is going to be the reigning, undisputed WWE Universal Champion after the match is over, and that's Roman Reigns. For Seth Rollins, you kind of feel that, it's not the right time for him to lose it. But one thing tonight, fans are really behind Jey Uso. World Championship run, yeah, I think that is definitely in the plans for Jey Uso's future. Not yet. But the crowd enjoys it. And listen, some people still complain to this day about Jey Uso with a little bit too much hot dogging. And this was a good example of it tonight. People were making a big deal about this, but I think people forget, when the Usos used to do their thing, even before the bloodline, they were animated. It's not like they were just serious competitors. I have no issue with Jey Uso doing what he does right now. The crowd enjoys it. He backs it up. He's great in the ring. He obviously, arguably, I shouldn't say obviously, but arguably the MVP of the bloodline storyline from beginning to end. Roman Reigns, obviously top shelf. Sami Zayn, pleasant surprise. Jimmy Uso, much better than anybody expected. Solo Sikoa, a little bit of a surprise. But I think when you look at the entire bloodline storyline, there's a lot of people that feel that Jey Uso was the MVP with his mannerisms, with his facials, with his reactions, with the emotions, everything. And for me, I put Jey Uso number one as far as his role in the bloodline. Absolutely enjoyed it. But Drew McIntyre at the very end tonight, a little Claymore to seal the deal for Jey Uso. But let me tell you something, that main event was excellent tonight. I'm not into match ratings, never was. But as I'm watching this tonight, we've seen some Dynamite matches get 5 stars. And I remember when Dave Meltzer was on Ariel Helwani earlier this year, Dave Meltzer says one of the reasons why he gives 5 stars or close to it is because a match delivers in a way that you don't expect it. And I personally think everybody, almost everybody, I know me, I will admit it, I think most of us expected some type of a count out or no contest because of Drew McIntyre showing up and screwing that match. Why would Drew McIntyre stay in the sidelines and give Jey Uso the possibility of hitting a spear, hitting a splash twice, and coming within a millisecond of becoming your world heavyweight champion? Why would Drew McIntyre allow that? So most of us expected Drew McIntyre to cause the finish of this match to be thrown out. We didn't get that. We got a clean finish. Seth Rollins with a pedigree out of nowhere, followed by a curb stomp, and Seth Rollins remains your world heavyweight champion. Would I give this match 5 stars if I was Dave Meltzer? Maybe not, but I think 4.5 for TV purposes. I thought it delivered. Crowd was into it. I mean, put it this way, when Jey Uso hits the splash, and he hits the spear followed by the splash, and Seth kicks out, and the crowd is chanting, holy shit, because of a spear and a splash. That's their emotional reaction to how convinced they thought Jey Uso was winning the match at that precise moment. And it was pretty cool. Plus, today is the 14-year anniversary of Umaga's passing. We cover it this week in wrestling history. If you want to check out that episode, we got a couple of previews for this week's episode, and there are a few heavy with CM Punk. It is the anniversary of CM Punk's shit interview, not shoot interview, but shit interview. Does anybody remember this? About a year before CM Punk left WWE. I'll give you 2 quick clips. Here's one. CM Punk on Howard Stern this week in wrestling history. And by the way, it's also the anniversary that CM Punk joined UFC and did that interview with Ariel Helwani back in 2014. This week in wrestling history, who remembers this 10 years ago?
Last question we ask everybody this one. We asked Randy Orton this one, too. His answer was odd. When was the last time you had an accident in your pants as an adult?
I was prepped for this.
Were you?
Yeah, he told me this was coming.
So you had one.
So I really try to think. I don't really have
As an adult, you never had an accident?
No. I'm not saying I haven't. I don't really have like a great story.
Not drinking helps.
Like,
that does help.
You know?
Not even post coming off flu or something, and you thought, oh, things are safe.
There was one time I was wrestling in Japan, and I was wrestling Masato Tanaka, who's very, very stiff, as we like to say, and beats the crap out of you, literally. And I had been throwing up out of both ends, and I was really, really sick. And he did like a Superfly frog splash for
so to speak.
A deal. And I made it through the match, and I was like, the whole time, I'm like, I'm just going to crap my trunks. Right. This is horrible. And then, like, I really remember having to focus to like really just clench my ass shut when he hit that splash. And, like, thankfully nothing happened.
So you were close.
Yeah, I was very close.
How did you do it?
Man, that's impressive.
Years of training.
Yeah.
That is
That's why you're a professional.
You know what? Here, this is a good one. It just hit me like a bolt of lightning. I did the Chicago Marathon in October, and mile 18, about mile 17, I had to go real bad.
You got the gurgle.
Yeah, and so I ran a mile
in a pile.
Hey, that rhymes.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
I mean, the best way I can describe it is I ran a mile.
That's two. You're 0 for 2. You are a punk. You went.
And I must have looked like completely ridiculous. Like
you probably ran like a 2-minute mile.
I have one better.
Really bad.
I have one better.
It probably was me walking, like holding my butt, you know. Like, anyway, basically, I made it mile 18. I see the porta-johns, and I'm, hallelujah, here we are. I bust into the porta-john, drop my shorts.
Careful. It's brave.
Yeah. I'm trying to be careful now. Yeah.
All right. Well, you could listen to the rest of that, but I got one better. Ironically, same week.
I had eaten something on my way to the gym that disagreed with me. My stomach was kind of rumbling, and I started thinking, well, maybe I can just like light spar today, or maybe I can just drill. And then when it came time to spar, Duke was like, you're going with me today. And I immediately was like, all right, my focus for this sparring session is going to be don't shit your pants. The first thing Duke immediately does to me is he goes hard to the body. When Duke opens up, he throws that big right hand. He's like being in a smart car, being rear-ended by a dump truck. Your immediate reaction is to go backwards, and that's definitely not what you want to do, because then he's not only throwing his concrete fists at you, he's swinging his big oak tree legs at you, and on top of having to shit in your pants, you have this maniac coming at you with this look on his face that I can only describe as Emperor Palpatine electrocuting Luke at the end of Return of the Jedi. And I'm backing up, and I'm just clenching my ass cheeks like shut. He scores an easy takedown, and now he's just laying on me. And I have all of Duke's 250 pounds basically just leaning on my colon is what it feels like. It's the longest 5 minutes of my life, and I'm sitting in a pool of my own sweat and drool, but thankfully not feces.
On this week's history show, we also talk about the time on SmackDown where CM Punk had a little bit of an accident. So there's a lot more. It's just a pretty bizarre week, with that. But we'll got some clips later. Actually, you know what? I'll share one now. It's worth it because it's probably in tribute to Bray Wyatt. It's one of the most bizarre history moments from this week. How many of you remember this screenshot? We'll do the rest of the history preview later, but we got to share this one just for shits and giggles. Who remembers this with Jake the Snake Roberts? What was this, 2015? This week in history. And you know what the greatest part about it is? We could play the video. It's not WWE footage. It's not trademarked. We could actually share the footage. This week in history, Jake the Snake Roberts decided to do this video about Bray Wyatt.
Is that you, Bray, baby? It is. Oh, thanks for waking me up. Yeah. What I got for us tonight. It's garlic flavored condom. I was gonna wear this for you, but instead I'm going all the way and give you your favorite, a thumb job. Get it for me, baby. Bring it home. Merry Simplest. Happy gonorrhea.
Yeah, he apologized a week later, and he's like, I guess that wasn't as funny as I expected it to be. So this is why we do the history show. We don't just go 1979. Terry Funk beat Vern Gagne for the AWA World Heavyweight Chip. No, we talk about Jake the Snake Roberts removing his teeth to give a toothless blowjob to someone who unfortunately is no longer with us. All right. Yeah, so we'll get into more later on. You know, before we recap Raw, a couple little news tidbits. First of all, I had a conversation with a young lady today who is close friends with Tammy Sytch. If you have followed my coverage of Tammy Sytch, especially over the last year plus, you know, we've had some details that no one else had. Most of them true. Some of them ended up being incorrect, with all due respect to James Pent. You know, I screwed up a little bit at that time. But, you know, I will tell you that I was told firsthand today that Tammy Sytch has been in jail for over a year. But this past week is the first week she is in prison, realizing that she will be there at minimum for the next 14 and a half years. And all I could tell you is that, number one, depression has sunk in big time, and asking for funds and food and snacks. And all I could say is, look, I don't like to kick someone while they're down, but she got too many opportunities. She killed someone. You are going to be in jail for 14 and a half years. It is finally, this might be her ultimate rock bottom now. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say, good, you deserve it. You know, you don't ever want to, you know, do that. But maybe, you know, this depression will finally get it through her fucking head that if you get out of jail 14 and a half years now, yeah, you'll be a senior citizen in your 60s. Yeah, you will never, you know, be allowed to drive ever again. But maybe you'll learn your lesson. Maybe you'll help others in the process. So I don't have any sympathy for her. At the same time, I don't want to hear another tragedy down the line. But I will tell you that I was told firsthand today that she is extremely depressed because reality is kicked in now. I don't know what her attorney thought that she was going to get. You know, I mean, there were people out there that still thought she was going to get 20 to 25 years. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, it's a good thing that she is off the streets. Let's be honest. Someone that I have no sympathy for, just a little bit of an update for anybody that's interested. Yeah, Crooked Face Man, Steve Carrier, Ringside News, Godfather. This weekend, he was arrested again, this time for assault. And I don't know if this is true. This is alleged. Somebody told me in a DM today that knows him that he cheap-shotted someone. Not going to say if it's a male or a female, because if you go female, you'd be like, wow, what a pussy. You know, but if it's a male, you know, there could be more. The bottom line is he's out of jail on $1,500 bond. That cost $150 to get out of jail. This is not his first arrest, but anybody that's ever dealt with Steve online, I am blocked by him. He is an asshole. He is a creep. Some of the shit that he has said privately towards some ladies online is beyond disgusting. And what I want is justice. But the justice I want, let me put it this way. Someone else would be in the mugshot arrested for assault. It wouldn't be Steve Carrier in jail. It would be Steve Carrier on the recipient. One day, he is going to cheap shot the wrong person, and that other eye on the left side of his face is going to balance out. It's going to balance out. I don't like that guy. He is a dirtbag piece of shit, and I don't mind saying that. By the way, I want to say this one more time, since 95% of the net honestly didn't give a shit about it, but I just wanted one more time to wish congratulations to Matt Riddle and Misha Montana. They gave birth to a baby boy on December 1st, and if you missed Saturday's show, it was pretty cool because we mentioned it on Saturday's show, and I said, I have no idea the name of the kid or the weight of the kid, and while we were live, Misha Montana and Matt Riddle were tuning into the show, and I got a text message live on the show. Matthew Ronald Riddle Jr. Say that fast 10 times. Matthew Riddle Ronald Jr. Almost 10 pounds. Jesus. Almost 10 pounds. So congratulations to them. Best wishes to the proud parents of a baby boy. So, all right. Couple other things very quickly. We talked about it over the weekend that WWE abruptly released McKenzie Mitchell, wife of Vic Joseph, a backstage interviewer for NXT. She's done other things in WWE as well. A lot of people were blindsided by this. I was very surprised. Everybody that I talked to that I'm friendly with in Florida that has interacted with her says that she is a sweetheart. She's not someone to cause issues, no baggage. People are kind of baffled why WWE let her go. Well, I might have part of the answer for you. And I say part because I don't know McKenzie Mitchell. I don't know WWE management. Just like anyone else out there, you don't know the WWE management. No, people telling you that there's a behavior clause in CM Punk's, contract is just asinine, and we explained it why yesterday. But the person that I talked to today told me that part of the reason, now remember, TKO Group Holdings has to downsize the number of employees between TKO Group Holdings and WWE. They're consolidating. People last week were blindsided by a lot of executive decisions letting some people go in the office because people did not pay attention that they still have dozens of people that they still have to decide. Do we keep the person that worked for TKO Group Holdings? Do we keep the person in WWE? This is not a Tony Khan run business where they'll just piss away billions, because they got the money for it. They have investors to answer to. So they are trimming payroll. Just like WWE released, 17, 20 people not too long ago, from Mustafa Ali to Matt Riddle to everyone else. I mean, there were different reasons, but the number one reason was to cut payroll. And I know what you're going to say. With record profits, with record income, how do you keep cutting payroll? Because at the end of the day, it's that bottom line. It's the quarter reports that come in. The investors want to see positive numbers. So I was told that part of the reason why McKenzie Mitchell may have been let go, and I'm showing you this picture one more time for a specific reason. You see McKenzie Mitchell there? Well, Shara Schreiber. Say that fast 10 times. WWE is considering putting Sarah Schreiber in that role to do a little bit of NXT backstage commentating. And if it's not Sarah Schreiber, apparently they have someone else waiting in the wings as well. And honestly, the reason why I put similar poses together is because they actually do look a lot alike. So, that could be part of the reason. This is what I was told today. I figured I'd like to share it with you. I like both. I mean, some of you like McKenzie over Sarah. Some of you like Sarah over McKenzie. All I could tell you is that there hasn't been one person yet that I've either talked to personally or seen online that is not surprised by McKenzie Mitchell's release. It's not like that she was a group of a whole bunch of on-air personalities that were let go. Most of the people let go last week were office and executive, and she was one to be let go. So I just figured I'd share that with you in case you wanted to know about it. Don't read much into this. If you see news reports or podcasts trying to make a big deal about this, I want to just nip this in the bud. Jade Cargill, all right, she did an interview with the Dallas Morning News over the weekend. And I know there's a lot of people. Jade Cargill reveals when she will make her WWE in-ring debut. It's clickbait, everyone, because she was asked, when will she make her WWE in-ring debut? And her answer was, and I quote, "I think the fan base should be patient. I think they need to understand we're making a diamond. We're creating something that's going to be a legacy. We're creating something that's going to create echoes and waves throughout, not just the wrestling culture, but pop culture and beyond. They're setting me up for success. You shouldn't rush success." That's the deal. She's just saying what Triple H echoed at the post, Survivor Series conference, scrum, whatever you want to call it. WWE is not rushing her. We want to see her on TV. We want to see her in the Royal Rumble. We want to see her pop up in NXT. We want to see her confront Charlotte Flair. We want to see her confront Bianca Belair. We want to see her, on TV. But, do you want, I brought this up yesterday doing the sit-down episode. Jade Cargill in her last AEW match against Chris Statlander was a very good match. In my opinion, though, the Jade Cargill that we saw in that match against Chris Statlander, that's the Jade Cargill that should have debuted in AEW and became 1-0. And what I mean by that is Jade Cargill losing to Chris Statlander, it was a very good match, but that still showed that Jade Cargill has a lot to learn still to really be able to not only tell a story, but to be part of a story. She can't lead the match because she's facing Lisa Schmuck. You know what I mean? So she should have been trained enough that her first match on TV, she should have been able to do what she did in her match with Chris Statlander. So WWE gets her, and they're like, we're not going to just throw her on TV. We're not going to just rush it. We're going to make sure that when she gets on TV, people are going to be like, wow, whatever it takes. Lisa Schmuck. I just came up with that. I don't think of names beforehand. So, all right. So as far as news, that's pretty much all I got for you today. Not a lot of news going on, obviously. Wednesday, we'll get into the weekend ratings. We got a few things going on. And, this Friday is tribute to the troops. So we will have the first two qualifying matches for the United States tournament. That Logan Paul holds that championship right now. Remember what I said yesterday. As of right now, Kevin Owens is not being replaced in that tournament. That broken hand deal is a storyline more than anything else. And that is done by design, because if Kevin Owens wins the tournament, becomes a number one contender for Logan Paul, Kevin Owens will not be 100% to face Logan Paul. So like I said yesterday, if Logan Paul defeats Kevin Owens, we don't have to have the IWC being like, come on, this is one of the greatest wrestlers in the last 15 years, and you have Logan Paul beat him? That's bullshit. So that's, why they're doing all of this. So let's talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw tonight. Albany, New York, and my friends, just like 10-10-10, whenever we reach October 10th, we celebrate the anniversary of 10-10-10. 9/24, in tribute to Joey 9/24, my former co-host. Whenever we hit September 24th, we have a little bit of fun. Well, whenever WWE comes to Albany, it would be sacrilegious if we didn't take a few moments to reflect on one of the greatest moments ever to take place in wrestling in Albany, New York.
Albany.
That's where we are.
My name is Marina Shafir, daughter of Disabella Shafir and Benjamin Shafir, and you welcomed us with open arms in '93 when we immigrated here from Moldova.
I still don't know where Moldova is. Moldova sounds like a chocolate you buy somebody for Christmas. Oh my God, you got me a box of Moldova. Listen, I support Marina Shafir. Anybody that knows me, I root for her. But that is one of the most iconic moments in the history of wrestling in Albany, New York. So, wow, I'm kind of surprised some people in the chat room have no idea about this promo. You don't know me. You don't know me. Ah, that was awesome. But anyway, she wasn't on Raw tonight. Thank God. All right, let's talk about Raw tonight. Drew McIntyre opens up the show. And the interesting thing about Drew McIntyre is he's kind of acting a little bit like a babyface. Welcomes everyone to Monday Night Raw. And he says, lately, this is the land where it feels like everybody's lost their mind these days. They're liars, hypocrites, cowards, just plain idiots. Apparently, you could get fired, released, leave, do what you want a few times, come back, and everyone instantly forgives you. And everybody starts chanting, CM Punk, CM Punk. And Drew McIntyre looks at the fans, and I think that was deliberate. You know, just like, no offense, I think Dave Meltzer, I love the guy. I don't agree with a lot of what he says in recent years. But if he thinks there's a conspiracy theory because the number one baby face in the WWE and Cody Rhodes last week says to CM Punk, welcome back, that was some type of shot or shade. If Cody Rhodes, let me put it this way, when it's the most downloaded moment, biggest views in social media history or whatever records it broke, I don't think it broke records because everybody, let me put it this way, when WWE showed the highlight videos of CM Punk returning, you saw people going, you didn't see people going, motherfucker, he's back, what the fuck? So what is Cody Rhodes supposed to do as the number one babyface? Say, CM Punk, go back to wherever you came from. That's almost as bad as 9/11 was an inside job. And I'm sorry for comparing the two, but there's no conspiracy. But when Drew McIntyre says that these days people could leave, get released, fired, do what they want a few times, come back, and it could be instantly forgiven. And the crowd chants, CM Punk, CM Punk. He looks at the crowd and he says, I could be talking about anybody. I could be talking about anybody. So Drew brings up last week, he says Seth Rollins pulled the fast one by Drew not giving him the title shot. He beat Jey Uso the week before. So he deserves the title shot, not Jey Uso. So he headbutted his stupid face. And the crowd is starting to turn a little bit against Drew McIntyre. Then he brings up Jey Uso and he says that you ran to Randy Orton with your tail between your legs and you apologized. Jay, you have something coming soon. Then he goes to bring up Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn comes out. And Sami Zayn is in the ring with Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre says that he and Sami are a lot alike. And Sami said last week on Raw that we're a lot alike. Drew says, no, we're not a lot alike. You're the one person in the world that deserved to be screwed by the bloodline. And the crowd is kind of like crapping on it. Drew says to the crowd, hear me out, hear me out. Sami, you were part of the bloodline. They're lapdog. You joined them because you were running away from me every week and you screwed them and then they turned on you. You deserved it. And then Sami says, you're right, we're not alike. Because Sami's not the delusional person pointing the finger at everyone else because of their shortcomings. And Sami says that even though he lost his title opportunity in front of his family, he stood focused and driven and got redemption in the main event of WrestleMania. I got my family proud. I made my family proud. Drew, do you feel like you're making your family proud right now? And Drew McIntyre is like, only one of us is going to be walking out tonight. He calls for a referee, and we get the match. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. This match, as people like to use the phrase these days, this shit cooked. They have excellent chemistry together. I am still going with my idea that at Crown Jewel next year, Drew McIntyre could be world champion. Sami Zayn could defeat Drew McIntyre in Saudi Arabia in front of that crowd in the main event. I think that is very, very doable, very possible. Tonight, they killed it in that ring. The story of the match was pretty simple. Early in the match, Sami Zayn landed awkwardly. We thought it was the knee at first, but it was actually his ankle. At this point, I thought Drew McIntyre was giving him the middle finger. If you look at the screenshot, it looks like he's giving him the middle finger. But we had a great brawl. There was one point in the match where Drew McIntyre picks up Sami and just starts tossing him like a bad habit. Sami gets some offense later on, and Drew is on the outside of the ring. Sami jumps over the top rope. Drew catches him and just throws him over the announcer's table, and it looked brutal. Everybody was chanting, holy shit. But we go to commercial, give Sami a little bit of time to regroup. We get a back and forth match. Sami almost got hit with a Claymore, turns it into the Blue Thunder Bomb. But towards the latter part of the match, Sami can't stand. And Sami's trying to get up. At one point, Drew was on the outside of the ring. Sami was going to run and jump over the rope again, but he's holding his ankle. He's holding his leg. He cannot do it. And in the meantime, Michael Cole is playing off, setting it up that Drew McIntyre is no longer that person with compassion. This is someone evil, selfish, out for himself, out for blood. Even Wade Barrett at this point said that Drew smells blood. I think he might have said he sees blood, or he smells blood. I think he might have said that. But Drew McIntyre sees an opportunity. Drew McIntyre goes back in the ring and he clips Sami Zayn in the leg. And I thought the referee was going to stop the match, but they didn't. Referee tells Drew, get back in the corner, and the referee is checking on Sami, and Sami's getting up slowly. And as soon as Sami Zayn turns around, Drew McIntyre nails him with the Claymore. And Drew McIntyre gets the pin, 1, 2, 3. And, he defeats Sami Zayn. And we go to commercial. We come back from commercial, and Sami Zayn is being checked in the back, and here comes Drew McIntyre. Just totally beats the balls off of Sami Zayn, kicks him in the leg. In my honest opinion, Sami Zayn will be, quote-unquote, on the shelf for the next 2 weeks, I think at minimum. You cannot have Sami Zayn wrestling next week. Drew McIntyre pulls Sami Zayn by the hair and says, the truth will set you free. Now, I'm sorry, everyone. I know this is a stretch, but I think everybody agrees with me what I'm about to say. Drew said that multiple times tonight. The truth will set you free. I just feel that there is absolutely, we're going to get a spot where R-Truth is going to cross paths with Drew McIntyre. because R-Truth used to use that line, the truth will set you free. And R-Truth right now, everybody loves that he is back. I mean, they did a segment tonight. I have a screenshot of it, and I know I'm going a little out of place, but since we're talking about R-Truth, we got to mention it. There's a spot in the back where he's with Damian Priest, JD McDonough, and Dominic Mysterio. No Rhea Ripley, no Finn Balor tonight. And R-Truth not only thinks that he is going to be in the Judgment Day, but you could tell that this was improvised tonight, that they were in the back, in the arena, and somewhere in that back, they found an old tube TV. I still got one in my office. I don't have the big one anymore. Some of you know what happened there. There's video on my old Facebook page. You could see it. But you know that they're like, you know what? We could do something with this. So R-Truth plugs it in, and R-Truth's like, look at this TV I bought. I almost got to you. And you know there's no longer an analog signals. And R-Truth is playing around with the TV. And honestly, I started laughing because I still have my little portable TV, pocket TV. I don't know if any of you that are maybe my age or a little bit younger, did you ever have one of those little TVs that were like the size of a Walkman? The Sony, I don't remember what it was called, Sony something cam. It was about this big, and you put it in your pocket, and you could, well, you're going fishing or you're going somewhere, even a baseball game, and you're sitting there and you could watch the game. So when I saw that, I bursted out laughing because I still got my TV and I can't do nothing with it other than play radio if I want. But I think R-Truth is going to get the shit knocked out of him from Drew McIntyre in the very near future. But Drew McIntyre just beats the shit out of Sami Zayn, and we know that Drew's night is not over. So, some news. And I purposely waited until now to bring it up. It's not a big deal, but for Jey Uso, it sucks. Let's be honest. I don't know if you saw this closely tonight, but when they showed the video package in hour one of Jey Uso wanting the World Heavyweight Championship, I got a still shot of part of that segment. Does anything seem a little bit strange about your screen right now? Was Jey Uso wearing a shirt that had profanity on it? No. Yeet is no longer allowed to be used by WWE as of now. I say it as of now because right now, no one knows who is contesting it or the problem WWE has with it. I can't imagine why WWE could not use the word yeet. I mean, if Steve Austin was able to use what, you telling me yeet cannot be used? Now, I'm not going to lie. I could have gone on the trademark website tonight and done a little search and see who has yeet trademarked right now. But all I know is that right now WWE has a trademark problem using the term yeet. So as a result, they had to pull the shirts off of WWE shop. They pulled the shirts off of the live events at the merchandise tables. Jey Uso, if you noticed tonight, did not say yeet once. Not to Adam Pearce, not to Seth Rollins, not once. Even when he was in the ring, nothing. So as of now, yeet is no more. I personally think that issue will be rectified because I can't see how that word could be, like in a situation where WWE can't use it. Doesn't make sense. I mean, even if they don't sell the shirts, why can't it be in Jey Uso's vocabulary, right? Tonight during the match, that crowd was doing it, and Jey wasn't saying it, but when every time he hit Seth, they go yeet, Yeet. Yeet. So crowd was still doing it. Jey Uso is not. Hey, I just came up with something. He got de-yeeted. De-yeet. Get Matt Hardy. De-yeet. 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 Not deleted, but de-yeeted. I'm going to have to use that. I got to steal that. I got to start putting my shit online because, you know, people kind of like steal our shit once in a while. He got de-yeeted. Yes. Jey Uso gets de-yeeted. That's going to be in the title for tonight's show after we are done. If I wasn't tired and wanted to go to sleep as soon as the show's over tonight, I would make a new thumbnail and I would just put de-yeeted. Maybe I will have Drew McIntyre after he beat up Jey and he grabbed him at the end. And he said, "The truth will set you free." I might have to make it de-yeeted. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to tonight. By the way, yesterday, about half an hour after the show was over, I got sick as a mofo. I threw up like crazy. I think I had food poisoning last night. So I was sick as a dog yesterday. If you see I'm kind of sweaty tonight, I don't feel 100%. But I promise the show, got to give it. So as of right now, let's make it official. Jey Uso, you've been de-yeeted. De-yeeted! De-yeeted, damn it. People are going to get sick of that quick. All right. Something else we need to share with you tonight. Shayna Baszler took on Nia Jax, and I got to be honest with you, I'm tired of this. Shayna Baszler's in the back. Now, I'm not going to zoom in. I'm not going to change the lighting. You know, if you want to do that online, by all means, go right ahead. Go for it. But as Shayna Baszler is doing an interview segment and Zoe Stark is standing there, you know, smirking, if you look on the right side of your screen, you will see Nikki Cross once again just standing in the back. I mean, how long has this been? This is not like 3 weeks of a storyline. This is what? This is a year? I mean, I'm trying to remember when she was stalking Candice LeRae when she first came to the main roster. This has got to be 7 months of this shit. I mean, come on. So that is the little Easter egg tonight. Anyway, Shayna Baszler says that she's gonna she broke Nia Jax's arm 2 years ago and put her on the shelf, and she's gonna do it again tonight. So we're going to get the match momentarily. Shayna Baszler versus Nia Jax. Before this happens, though, Becky Lynch is being interviewed. Now, remember, last week it was kind of a weird moment right before CM Punk came out. Becky Lynch did an interview for like 15 seconds, 20 seconds that seemed pointless. We didn't see her again for the rest of the night. She's about to be interviewed once again, and she gets interrupted by Nia Jax. And the summary of this is that we thought Shayna Baszler would be next in line for Rhea Ripley's championship, but now I'm not so sure because Nia Jax gets in Becky Lynch's face. Becky Lynch has a receipt waiting for Nia Jax, and we kind of get, you know, the Nia Jax version of Xia Li. You know, we're not in due time. When I'm ready. You know, Nia Jax is not ready yet, but she's basically telling Becky, pay attention to the match tonight. And sure enough, we get it spectacular. Listen, 13 minutes out of Nia Jax is not the norm. And she did 13 minutes plus with Shayna Baszler. And I honestly thought before Nia had that confrontation with Becky Lynch, I thought Shayna Baszler is getting this win tonight. Send a message to Rhea Ripley. A lot of people want to see Shayna Baszler versus Rhea Ripley. But instead, we get Nia Jax. She gets the win. She splashes. You know, she does that bonsai drop. She calls the Annihilator. She squashes Shayna Baszler. And right after the match, here comes Becky Lynch. And she's smirking and smiling, and Nia Jax is not happy. She's not happy. So it looks like we are about to get Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax. The only way, and I know this sounds goofy, and kind of lame, but in a way, I'll still take it. I wonder if next week Rhea Ripley bumps into Shayna Baszler and laughs at Shayna Baszler for losing to Nia Jax, and then maybe Shayna Baszler throws a shot at Rhea Ripley. We get a pull apart, and the match is still planned after all. I personally think Shayna Baszler versus Rhea Ripley right now, Rhea still win. She'll still like to keep her championship, but I think Shayna Baszler needs a little momentum. It is not working with her and Zoe Stark as an alliance. You know, Kevin and I got into that pretty deep last week. I was a little concerned. Some of the reasons why I feel Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark are not working. I thought I'd get my mouth in trouble, but I was surprised most of you out there agree with me on it. It's not to hurt anybody's feelings, but it feels like WWE, for anybody that didn't tune into that episode, WWE, Shayna Baszler is a bona fide, legit, badass MMA. You know, she's legit. Zoe Stark, there's no background that reflects that at all. And I think when you look at Shayna Baszler, she's gritty, maybe even tomboy, if anybody. And that's, again, I am a huge fan of Shayna Baszler. This is not making fun of her at all. Shayna Baszler is a little bit, rough. And I think WWE looks at Zoe Stark and it's like, she ain't no Tiffany Stratton. She looks like somebody gritty. Somebody would beat the fuck out of a guy in a bar. Somebody who is a tomboy. And I think they think that both of them together look like they're perfect for each other. Unfortunately, and I say this as a compliment, but Shayna Baszler, her charisma compared to Zoe Stark, you might as well say that Shayna Baszler is The Rock. She has, that's what I'm saying. Like she doesn't have much charisma, and she's got 1,000 times more charisma than Zoe Stark, with all due respect. WWE never did anything about character development with Zoe Stark. They put her with Trish Stratus, thinking that it would be instant heel. And I loved Kevin's comment last week when he said that we could picture that WWE creative, Triple H or someone that said to Zoe Stark that your moment is going to be right after Trish loses that cage match. And you're going to lay out Trish and that crowd is going to erupt. And that's going to be your breakout moment when you lay out that bitch Trish for getting in your face. And that was a misfire. I mean, that was a misfire. Not only was that a misfire, whoever came up with that idea accidentally shot themselves in the foot. So, but unfortunately, Shayna Baszler loses today to Nia Jax, but the match was excellent. We get a repeat of CM Punk's not only return to Survivor Series, but his promo last week on Raw. And we learn not only will CM Punk be a Tribute to the Troops edition of SmackDown this week, but on next Monday's Raw, he will be on as well. And the plan is that Adam Pearce is going to have CM Punk sign a contract. So they're going to milk this, everybody. They're going to milk this. Something is going to happen next week where that contract is not signed. They rushed it with Randy because Roman Reigns is returning 3 of the next 6 weeks. And they're going to have Randy Orton interacting with Roman Reigns. You have to have Randy on SmackDown so he can feud with Roman Reigns. And I know what some of you are going to say. Roman Reigns is the champion of both brands. Roman Reigns could have come to Raw and still feuded with Randy Orton. But the thing is that Roman Reigns, if he's going to make an appearance, it's only going to be for SmackDown. The only reason why he would appear on Raw is if there is a special episode or there is just something out of the ordinary. Roman Reigns does not appear on Raw. You would think that Roman Reigns is only the champion of SmackDown. But CM Punk is going to return next week, and we will see what happens. Oh, yeah, CM Punk absolutely will be on Raw. You do not put CM Punk and Randy Orton on SmackDown. Remember, guys, this is not news. It's common sense. CM Punk signing with WWE, that just gave Nick Khan a major ace in the hole that whoever he's negotiating with right now, it's almost like playing Monopoly and I want to sell you, like the Greens, North Carolina Avenue, Pacific Avenue, and how I even remember those names, I don't know. But then out of nowhere, CM Punk is kind of like Boardwalk in Park Place, rolled up into one. I know that's kind of a stretch, but it's like, okay, you're trying to negotiate something, and you're like, look what I just got. You remember, they building a whole show around CM Punk on Warner Brothers Discovery. So CM Punk will not be the focal point on WWE television. He will be a big part, a big cog in the wheel. But CM Punk will never be positioned where he is that number one guy. Not anytime soon. There are too many people on the food chain above him. WWE is not going to screw those people over. They understand, just like Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is a very important element of WWE, but Cody Rhodes has not replaced Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes has not replaced Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes is not replaced. He has not leapfrogged a whole bunch of people. Yes, he's going to finish the story. But Cody Rhodes is a complement with a whole bunch of others. You don't see, even in ratings, where Cody Rhodes' segments spike and then they decline when he's off TV. That doesn't happen. So, all right, so let's continue with Raw. And you know what? Since we're talking about Cody Rhodes, let's bring it up now. Cody Rhodes wants to call out Shinsuke Nakamura. Cody Rhodes is talking about the Mist. When he was a kid, the Mist, the great Muda, scared the shit out of him. He felt that mist. And he says he should have been paying closer attention to Shinsuke Nakamura. He said what you and I talked about for weeks, all those clues. Remember all those clues that Shinsuke put? You are privileged. I have been waiting, patient, frustrated. Remember that 6-man tag where Shinsuke teamed up with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes? After Shinsuke finished with Seth, now it was on to Cody. And if you paid attention to the promos, you knew all along it was Shinsuke Nakamura. Cody says tonight he should have been more aware, should have paid attention to all the clues because Shinsuke left a lot of them. And he gave Shinsuke two choices: confront me like a man or fight me. And the lights go out and Shinsuke is on the screen once again. And Shinsuke is basically, his promo is that, I don't want to say it's kind of like Sami and Drew last week. Like, we have a lot in common. We both had world championship shots in front of our family. We both got screwed from the bloodline. That's kind of where Shinsuke's going with this. You know, if you replace Shinsuke with Sami and Cody with Drew, or you want to vice versa, replace Shinsuke with Drew and Cody with Sami, you kind of got the similar thing. So Shinsuke is on the screen and Shinsuke is talking about, they're, having similar paths. Talking about when Cody returned, Shinsuke climbing the mountain as well. And Shinsuke saying that the path that we have taken is the very same story. And Shinsuke says, like you, I slipped and I tumbled. I fell in a bottomless pit. And he goes on and says, we suffered the same humiliation. And, all right, might feel a little bit of a stretch that Shinsuke waited this long. When you realize what Shinsuke's talking about, with his match with AJ Styles, going back a little bit. But Cody Rhodes, after Shinsuke is done with his promo, Cody Rhodes is like, we have nothing in common. I don't, duck and I don't avoid or back down and this. I confront. And, that is all Dusty. If you know vintage Dusty, this is all Cody doing Dusty again. And that's why he and Shinsuke, even though they kind of had a similar path, Cody is nothing like Shinsuke Nakamura. And we now learn that they're going to have a match next week. Let's see where it goes. I'm a little bit surprised, like I said earlier, that we're going to get that match next week. Hopefully it ends with some bullshit finish and it continues further, because going into the end of 2023, this could turn into a really hot feud. I mean, Cody is going to prevail, but that doesn't mean that Cody can't lose or Shinsuke can't, cheat or a disqualification or just something really, really crazy. Remember, there's no pay-per-view or premium live event in December. So it's the road to the Royal Rumble. So anything that goes down in the very near future is going to, be on regular TV. And remember what we talked about this weekend with the Royal Rumble poster with Drew McIntyre not on it. People were trying to make it really controversial. I thought it was great for the storyline because Drew online, he's playing into the frustration. And a lot of fans are buying it hook, line, and sinker. And that's exactly what we talked about a week ago with Triple H, blurring those lines, making fans believe that Drew McIntyre is really frustrated. He can't wait to leave. Acting like, oh, he stormed out of Survivor Series, got in his car, and sped away. Maybe he was speeding away because he didn't want to just deal with annoying fans with autographs. Maybe he had to take a shit. And maybe the bathrooms were full in the building. People are, it's controversy, contract, blah, 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 blah. And it's nothing of the sort. So Drew not being on the Royal Rumble poster, I think is smart. And as Michael Cole even said tonight, there's quite a few people that are not on the poster. And yesterday when we were looking at the poster, or Saturday, I couldn't even find Gunther. And Gunther is like right above Asuka's head, I believe. And it's his head is like 1/3 the size of everybody else's. If anything, Gunther, you would have thought been front and center. And speaking of Gunther, next week might be close to the end of Imperium as we know it. Remember what we talked about for the last 3-4 weeks. WWE wants to have a match between Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. Many, many moons ago, Gunther gave that crazy chop to Ludwig Kaiser, and we thought that was the end of it. Did not happen. Ludwig Kaiser still stood by the side of Gunther. But the last couple of weeks, Gunther, for some reason, is quite upset at Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci could do no wrong. Either there's some gangster setup about to happen and Vinci is going to be ambushed, or they're going to go ahead and have Gunther just berate Ludwig Kaiser that leads to a match. My only concern with that is, what do you do with Ludwig Kaiser after the match is over? Ludwig Kaiser is a heel. You do not want Ludwig Kaiser as a babyface. He's a badass. He's got the look. He's just somebody that, like if you were in a restaurant, a classy restaurant or a pub, and he started eyeing up your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you probably couldn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like Ludwig Kaiser is just born to be a heel. Do you ever picture Ludwig Kaiser smiling and slapping hands with the fans? Ludwig Kaiser, just like Alberto Del Rio, Miz, I don't know. I think we just acknowledge Miz now because of all the years he's been in the sport. But what do you do with Kaiser after the match is over? Unless Kaiser stands up to Gunther and Gunther says, "You want to challenge me? Go ahead, challenge me." And then Kaiser loses, puts up a fight, and then maybe Gunther keeps him in Imperium, that he proved himself. It's the only way I could see it going. I don't want to see Kaiser as a babyface, and I don't think the fans want to see him as a babyface too. He's just got that look that you just want to punch. And that is a good look to have, seriously. But the reason why we believe next week shit's going down in Imperium, because tonight we had a 2 out of 3 falls match. And to set up a little bit of extra friction, before the match goes down, we see Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa in the back with Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser. And they're like, oh, what a lovely couple. And Indy Hartwell's trying to act tough, like, oh, how are you going to feel when you lose twice tonight? And then she talked in some language I don't think I understood. They all walk off. Ludwig Kaiser looks at Giovanni Vinci and stresses the importance of the match. You better bring your best, Giovanni. And Vinci slaps Ludwig Kaiser in the chest and says, you better do the same. And Kaiser just got that sinister look like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? So they storm off, and we have the best 2 out of 3 falls match. This match was excellent too, maybe a little bit rushed. But when you have 3 falls, obviously you're not going to go 30 minutes on Raw. But DIY ends up getting the win. They won it 2 falls to 3. The first fall came only about 4 minutes in. Johnny Gargano was outside the ring. They originally were going to set the meeting in the middle to Ludwig Kaiser, but Vinci pulled Gargano outside the ring and Ludwig Kaiser with the fruit roll-up on Tommaso Ciampa. Then maybe 2-3 minutes later, Imperium goes for a double team move. Ciampa blocks Ludwig Kaiser, little bit of a distraction. So Gargano has a fruit roll-up, Giovanni Vinci. So now it's tied 1-1. Towards the end of the match, Tommaso Ciampa hits the air raid crash to Ludwig Kaiser. They go to set up the meeting in the middle again. Giovanni Vinci saves Ludwig Kaiser once again. Ludwig Kaiser tries to roll up Johnny Gargano, holding the tights. Gargano still kicks out. DIY starts trading kicks, hitting Kaiser, and then nails him with the meeting in the middle. Ludwig Kaiser causes DIY to win. Imperium gets the loss. Gunther will not be pleased. And I wonder when we saw later on, where is my screenshot? Here is my screenshot. When we saw Gunther with Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce has got that look of shock on his face. I wonder if next week on Raw, Adam Pearce announces that Ludwig Kaiser has a match, and we don't know who his opponent is. And then you hear, it almost sounds like the intro of Jaws. You'll hear, and you hear Gunther's music. I think that could very well happen next week. I think Adam Pearce agrees to have Gunther taking on Ludwig Kaiser. I think that would be rushed. Personally, giving us Cody Rhodes and Shinsuke and Gunther and Kaiser in the same night would be asking for much. But I think Gunther went to Adam Pearce and demands that next week he gets in the ring Ludwig Kaiser, and Gunther wants to chop a little bit of sense back into Ludwig Kaiser. Maybe, maybe not. We're not doing predictions here. We're not reporting news, just trying to brainstorm a little bit, coming up with some ideas. But in the end, DIY gets the win, a fun match, and we'll see where the storyline goes from here. We got a little bit of a comedy segment in the back. The Creed brothers are warming up for their match against Dominic Mysterio and Jada McDonough. And I'm all for the New Day interacting with them. And I'm all for Alpha Academy interacting with them. But what I want to know, and that was pretty cool with Maxine Dupree doing those squats with Akira Tozawa on her back. But what I want to know, and I'm just being honest here, asking a question, why in the New Day so ecstatic that the Creed brothers become number one contenders? Wasn't it not too long ago where the New Day went up to DIY or to the Viking Raiders and others and we deserve the title shot, or we should be number one? They were so excited. You would have thought the New Day were retired and they were just rooting for the Creed brothers. Why were they so excited that the Creed brothers are number one contenders? I thought it was a little bit much because, remember, 2 weeks ago, all the tag teams were in the back with Adam Pearce. And Adam Pearce announces we're going to have a gauntlet. and everybody is going to face each other, and the winner of that gauntlet becomes the number one contenders. And everybody's looking at each other like, yeah, I'm going to win. Yeah, I'm going to win. And everybody, Alpha Academy, New Day, Indus Shear, DIY, Creed Brothers, everybody's out for themselves. And the Creed Brothers win, and the New Day is fucking ecstatic. So, but the Creed Brothers tonight, let's be honest, they kicked ass. Julius Creed is some kind of special. I couldn't even do it once. And even if I could do it once, I don't know stamina-wise if anybody, let me put it this way, if somebody did that on Twitter in a gym, just kept popping up like Julius Creed did after each belly-to-back suplex tonight, I think that would go viral, because there's just so much. It's not just stamina, it's timing and not missing every single time. Because tonight we had the Creed Brothers taking on Dominic Mysterio and Jada McDonough. Early part of the match, R-Truth comes out with a Buffalo Bills title because they're in Albany, home of Marina Shafir, daughter of blah, 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 from Moldova. So R-Truth is with the Buffalo Bills belt, and we get the match. And listen, Jada McDonough had some great offense. He hit a beautiful dragon suplex. Dominic with the 619. I mean, this was back and forth. But there was one point where Julius Creed got the hot tag, and Julius Creed hits a belly to back to Jada McDonough. And you know how you leap up? Shawn Michaels is most legendary for doing it. He's laid out on the mat. He kicks up his feet and he pops up. Julius Creed hits a belly to back to Dominic. Julius Creed pops up, turns around, and here's Jada McDonough without any waiting. Jada McDonough eats a belly to back. Julius pops up. They did this 6 times. He would hit a belly to back to Dom, pop up. Belly to back to JD, pop up. Belly to back to Dom, back and forth. And the crowd was just into this. Michael Cole selling it tremendously as well. We thought that was going to be the beginning of the end, but when they set up for the Brutus Ball, and I'm doing this all from memory, obviously, but they set up the Brutus Ball, and you had Dominic Mysterio pull Brutus off of the apron. So JD McDonough hits a dragon suplex on Julius Creed, and we start thinking that things are turning around. Dominic hits the 619 on Julius as well. But then shit just goes into the favor of the Creeds. Julius ends up to the outside with Dominic and just tosses. Let me put it this way. He tosses Dominic, and then a few moments later, he hits Dominic with, I guess you could call, remember Marcus Corvone, Monty Brown. Remember the pounce? I mean, we've seen others do the pounce. Keith Lee has done the pounce. But Julius hits the pounce to Dominic, and he fucking flies over the announcer's table. You know, that's it. Dominic is done for the rest of the match. And sure enough, they hit the ring, hit the Brutus Ball on Jada McDonough, and next thing you know, the Creed Brothers get the pin. The Creed Brothers, listen, I remember that match that they had with the New Day, and there were moments that were a little shaky, and they've just put it together in a matter of a month. Are they absolutely ready? No. They're still very, very young, but you now understand why WWE has so much, investment in the Creed Brothers, and they think that they are ready. And when you have casual fans, including me and others, think that the Creed Brothers could very well defeat Finn Balor and Damian Priest, that's saying something, man. I mean, these guys, you know what's happening right now? The Creed Brothers are no longer coming across as major upsets. Month ago, major upset, surprise. Wins the gauntlet, a little bit of an upset, but worked hard. Now, when you have Finn Balor last week go to Damian Priest and go, these guys are legit. These guys are the real deal. Then tonight, after the match is over, you got JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio saying pretty much the same thing with Damian Priest. And then a few moments later, Damian Priest is just looking in the air out of concern like, fuck, we got to be a little bit concerned. Creeds are legit, man. They are legit. When we watched them every week on NXT, it was raw power. I mean, it was just raw. I mean, some of it was sloppy. I'll never forget that Brutus ball to the outside of the ring. And all I kept thinking of was, who was the guy? Oh, God, I'm trying to remember his name. Who remembers who did that dive off the top rope to the outside and broke his ass? He was in the Full-Blooded Italians when he went to the WWE. I can't, not Johnny Stamboli. I think it was the other guy. People remember he was in a hardcore match with Terry Funk on Nitro, and he went and it's legendary. Stevie Richard has talked about it, and others. Maybe it was Johnny the Bull. Might have been Johnny the Bull. He dove off the top rope, the middle of the ring, but he dove off the top rope and did a leg drop to the outside, to the floor. A leg drop to the floor and broke his ass. He legitimately broke his ass, cracked his ass. It is a legendary clip online. If you want to go see, I'm pretty sure it was Johnny the Bull. Johnny the Bull versus Terry Funk, hardcore match. Johnny the Bull breaks his ass. Seriously. It's when Brutus did that Brutus ball to the outside of the ring one night in NXT, we all have flashbacks of Johnny the Bull. Like, you will not see Brutus do that shit again. Could have legitimately broke his hip, broke his ass. Not fun. Not fun. I appreciate everybody guessing online. You had one of a 3-shot guess. Some people like Little Guido. Some people like, it's Big Vito. If you don't know, you don't know. But you had a 1 in 3 shot. Let's be honest. But the Creed brothers get the win. They're the real deal. And soon, could it happen at the Royal Rumble? Not sure. Notice tonight, no hint of a Damian Priest cash-in. I wonder if anybody thought tonight, would Damian Priest possibly cash in or try to cash in or tease a cash in, especially after the match was over? That's why, if you notice, when Drew McIntyre claymored Jey Uso, we really didn't see anything with Seth Rollins afterwards. Because if Drew McIntyre would have beat the balls out of Seth Rollins also and left him unconscious, people would be looking to the back like, okay, where's Damian Priest cashing in? So they didn't even tinker with that tonight. But Creed brothers, they're here. They're here to stay on the main roster, and they killed it tonight. Before we get to the main event, one other match that I wanted to get into that deserves a little mention. We had Natalya and Tegan Nox versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. And it's funny that Chance and Carter are on TV this week after the discussion that we had last week about that strange social media video that WWE put out when 90% of it was just them at like theme parks and parades and dancing and stuff. And like, how's about doing a 2-minute video of just them kicking ass? But before the match happens, you got Chelsea Green and Piper kind of making fun of Tegan Nox and Natalya. And, this match was good. A little bit too, choreographed at times. I will say this. I kind of felt bad for Natty at one point because Natty did a press slam to Katana Chance. And I got a screenshot up right now. And the crowd loved it. I thought it was great. But if you go back and you watch that clip, I beg you, listen to the next 5 seconds afterwards, because Wade Barrett he didn't do it on purpose, but he pissed all over Natty's cornflakes. Because right after Natty hits that press slam to Katana Chance, you got Wade Barrett saying, the smallest girl on the WWE roster. He was bringing up how Katana Chance is the tiniest girl on the roster. And that's like if I pick up my little nephew that's 2 and I throw him in the pool, and then somebody's like, oh, that's cute. He's 38 pounds, I mean, he just pissed all over her cornflakes. But the match was good. But, I will tell you the finish that Katana Chance and Kaden Carter is very cool to look at. And basically, Katana Chance is on the top rope and Kaden Carter is like throwing her off the top rope. But when she tosses over the top rope, she flips around and splashes her opponent. And some people call it the keg stand. But they got the pin on Natty and Tegan Nox. And after the match is over, a little bit of extra comedy. And listen, we all appreciate Chelsea Green. Kevin and I showed a lot of love for her last week, but Chelsea Green overdoes it with a little bit of the comedy sometimes. And Chelsea Green is extremely upset that Katana Chance and Kaden Carter won. And Michael Cole's like, why are you upset? You knew somebody was going to win. And she goes at ringside and they pretty much knock her on her ass. And this is a match that's going to be coming up soon. Could Katana Chance and Kaden Carter dethrone them for the belts? It's possible, but I think people are just waiting for some 2 members of Damage Control, once they rename the team. But, I will say this, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter have not been given a good break since they've been moved to Raw. But in NXT, they were leaps and bounds more ready than anybody else out there. They start putting Katana Chance and Kaden Carter out there. I won't say it will get over like Creed Brothers level. They're not, it's a different, vibe with them. My problem, and I think we all agree on this, is unfortunately, the women's tag team roster is terrible right now. And who else is Katana Chance and Kaden Carter going to beat? Xia Li and Nikki Cross? Like Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae? Yeah, those teams are possible, but, that gets old very quickly. And, you need to amount many more wins. You look at the Creed brothers. They already beat DIY. They already beat the New Day. They already beat Imperium. They already beat Dominic Mysterio, Jada McDonough. These are all top teams, former champions across the board. And you look at Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, and who is really their menu? Tegan Nox and Natalya, Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, Nikki Cross and somebody. Xia Li, if that ever amounts to anything, And look, we like Xia Li, but you can't say that I was wrong. I said, what happens after the match with Becky? They made her look like a clown. She had the opportunity to face Becky for the women's championship. Becky's like, all right, when do you want it? It's not her fault. It's the creative. Oh, when I'm ready, on my terms. Oh, my terms is let me wait for you to lose the championship. And then she loses the championship. She gets extra pissed off, takes on Lyra Valkyria instead, loses, has an awful tea time segment into boot. Then she has a great match with Becky. And then you're like, now what? Now what do we do with Xia Li? What do we do? What do they do? What do you do? So she's fucked. To be honest with you, what do you do? So, all right, this was a good match, but when we look back 2 months from now, we look at the teams that Kaden Carter and Katana Chance beat, it'll be a combination of the people I just mentioned. There is nobody else. There really isn't. You might be 1 or 2. Well, they're not going to beat Raquel Rodriguez and Zoe Stark. They're not going to beat Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. I'd be shocked if that happens. Nia Jax, who's Nia Jax going to team up with? Unless they do something where Nia Jax just gets angry and just decides, I'm leaving. We might get bullshit outcomes like that. So the main event tonight, before the match is over, well, the match begins, I should say, Adam Pearce is in the back with Jey Uso, and Jey Uso's concerned about Sami, but, Adam Pearce look, this is the biggest night of your career. Just go out there and have a good match. And we even saw a few moments later, Jey Uso with Seth Rollins. And, they got mutual respect for each other, and they're wishing each other good luck. And we also see a segment in the back where Adam Pearce is telling Seth Rollins that he plans on having CM Punk on the show next week to sign a contract, and Seth Rollins is not thrilled about it. He's kind of laughing it off. What some people don't realize online is that when Seth Rollins keeps saying on TV, I don't want to hear CM Punk, it's going to make the chance even more. Some people online still don't get it. The more Seth says that, the more people will do it. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk is happening at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins, let me put it like this. Do you remember when Seth Rollins was feuding with Finn Balor, and Finn Balor was in the ring with Seth Rollins, and the crowd was just serenading Seth, would not shut up, and it went on for minutes, and people online I don't blame Finn for being upset. My God, they don't want to shut the fuck up. Let Finn talk. Finn showing frustration is by design to get the crowd even more into it. When Seth acknowledged the fans, that's when they stopped. That is the art of what they do. So Seth Rollins, you need to have the crowd split. There are going to be loud chants for CM Punk when Seth Rollins is in the ring. At some point when CM Punk is in the ring, you're going to hear fans serenading Seth, even if he's not out there. This is the tension. This is the build going to WrestleMania. So when you hear Seth repeatedly every week, I'm tired. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that name. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not interested. Blah, 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 blah. He stabbed us in the back. That's to get the fans that want to chant CM Punk, do it louder. And tonight, Seth Rollins has the match with Jey Uso. This match went, I would say, 25 minutes. 25 minutes. Again, I'm not into star ratings, but I guarantee you there have been other matches that have been 10 minutes, 15 minutes that have gotten 5 stars. Does this deserve a 5-star rating? No. But 4.5 stars, if you want to play that game, I think so tonight. We did not have any interference in the match, and the match went back and forth, and the crowd was solidly behind Jey Uso. Crowd loves Seth Rollins as well. Crowd at times was chanting CM Punk during this match. The announcers did not acknowledge the chants, and it went back and forth. And, Seth with a lot of offense. We had some brawling on the outside of the ring. Seth Rollins hitting the buckle bomb, Jey Uso hitting a spear. At one point, Seth Rollins, we thought was going to hit the curb stomp, and Jey Uso would turn it into some offense. And at one point, they're brawling on the outside of the ring. We go to commercial. I think we had 2 commercial breaks tonight. But these 2 guys battled. They killed it. They put on 25 minutes, and they obviously have a lot of chemistry together. And towards the end of the match, Jey Uso is nailing spots out of nowhere. Hits a splash, gets a 2 count. Seth Rollins goes and hits a move, gets a 2 count. At one point, Seth Rollins, thinks he has the win, and Jey Uso is kicking out of everything, and Seth Rollins is looking around like, how the fuck is this guy kicking out? And Jey Uso would not quit. It kept going back and forth. Towards the latter part of the match, Jey Uso goes up, hits the splash, hit a spear right before it, gets a 2 count, and like I said earlier, the crowd is chanting, holy shit. Holy shit. Towards the latter part of the match, we at some points honestly thought, could we possibly see history tonight? Could Jey Uso not only become world champion, but could that lead to a Damian Priest cash-in or ultimately Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre for the championship? Or do we get what I believed was going to happen tonight, and we were going to get Drew McIntyre interfering? You know, I will acknowledge that a lot of what Triple H is doing is not perfect. You know, everybody could ooh and ah about Dragon Lee, and Dragon Lee is turning the corner. I admit it. Dragon Lee, and I saw that clip of him giving the kid the mask at the house show. That fucking spread everywhere. Dragon Lee is getting his ass over, and that's a great thing. But for every Dragon Lee, there's a Cameron Grimes, a Dexter Lumis, an Indy Hartwell, a Candice LeRae, a Nikki Cross, and you could just go on and on and on. Xia Li, would say we could go others. But, you know, the one thing that you can give Triple H credit for is, and I think everybody agrees with me when I say this, if Vince McMahon was still heading creative, Drew McIntyre would have caused a no contest. Drew McIntyre would have hit that ring, hit Rollins with a Claymore, hit Jey Uso with something, you know, and get the no contest, and then Drew starts just beating the fuck. You could even have Damian Priest tease the cash in if you want to go that route, you know, if you really want to make it complicated. But that match would have ended with a bullshit finish. And one thing that I will acknowledge is that we are getting a hell of a lot more clean finishes. If you really think about it, the matches tonight, Drew McIntyre with Sami, you know, showing no sympathy, but he won clean. You know, the Creed brothers, they won clean. Kate and Carter, Katana Chance, they won clean. DIY, 2 out of 3 falls, they won clean. So, you know, how many times have we covered shows in the past and every show was a run-in or clusterfuck finish? I think sometimes we don't pay attention to it as closely. But tonight, these two guys gave it their all. At times, we thought Jey Uso was going to win it, but at the very end, out of nowhere, here comes Seth Rollins, hits the pedigree, hits the curb stomp, gets the 1, 2, 3 on Jey Uso. And we're at like 10:58 p.m., and, you know, I still thought Drew McIntyre was coming. I think that's the reason why they had the match so early in the night with Drew. That could have been easily the beginning of hour 2 or something like that. But Seth gets the clean win. After the match is over, we get a sign of respect by both. Jey Uso, disappointed, leaves the ring. And if you remember that goofy, cartoonish video I showed of the Judgment Day in the gym. Remember Cody with the science experiment? Remember that goofy video I showed 2 weeks ago? At the very end, Drew McIntyre out of nowhere, Claymore to Jey Uso. The ending of Raw tonight was almost identical. Jey Uso is outside the ring, distraught, you know, disappointed, I think might be the better word. And here comes Drew with a Claymore out of nowhere. Fucking lays his ass out. I'm wondering, okay, is he going to go after Seth? Because obviously the goal is Drew McIntyre gets the rematch with Seth Rollins. Drew McIntyre puts Jey Uso through a table, and he picks up his head at the very end, and he says, the truth will set you free. And we go off the air just like that. And I thought it was a great way to go off because we had a tremendous night of wrestling. Best Raw in a long time? No, not even close. But consistent good shit throughout the night. A little bit of goofy comedy, a little bit of R-Truth, doesn't hurt anybody. A little bit of storyline advancement. But you could see, obviously there's no premium live event. There's no Saudi Arabia event. There's nothing coming up in the near future. So they could kind of coast. And that's what we got tonight. We got coast. Because Drew, at the end of the day, still is not any closer of having a rematch with Seth. Cody versus Shinsuke next week, you know, that'll be interesting to see if they continue that further. Creed brothers, we have no idea when they're going to get their tag team title shot. So I thought it was a very good Raw tonight. I really enjoyed it very much. So before we wrap this up with a little bit of history, I got a couple of shout outs, and maybe we'll take questions for like 5 minutes. I don't want anybody in the chat to feel like left absent, even though we do the show on Sunday for a lot of Q&A and stuff. Theme Parks with Johnny, thank you for the 5 spot. Something not related to wrestling. Did I happen to see the GTA 6 trailer today? I have not seen it yet. For some weird reason, I seen a picture of CM Punk holding, I could swear, that video game. Maybe it was photoshopped, but I will tell you this. I swear on a stack of Bibles, before I go to sleep tonight, I'm watching that trailer. Because Grand Theft Auto, I don't have a PS5. I don't have a PS4 or a PS3. But when I go back to PlayStation and PlayStation 2 days, I know I've told this story before. Not everybody knows it. But when Grand Theft Auto Vice City came out, I drove 90 minutes each way to a video store in Suffolk County, Long Island, to get the game because nobody had it. Video Game Central in Howard Beach was a store that I used to work a little bit on the side. All the autograph signings for the WWE in the early 2000s, I was involved in it. I'm sure there's some of you out there still that got Brock Lesnar autographs because of me, and Shawn Michaels and others, Randy Orton. I was involved in all those autograph signings. And when Grand Theft Auto Vice City came out, you know, my friend at the time, he's like, yeah, I put one aside for you. Don't worry. When it comes in, it's yours. And the fucking game came out, and Video Game Central was 2 minutes from my house. I call him up. I'm like, Matt, could I come down? He's like, we didn't get the shipment we thought we were going to get. We're kind of short. We don't have it right now. I'm like, when do you think you're going to get it in? I don't know, bro. I gotta get back to you. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to wait. I started calling every toy store, Toys R Us, Electronics Boutique. Was that the name of the place? Electronics Boutique. Called all these stores. I finally found one. I don't even, maybe in Dix Hills. I'm like, yeah, we have one. So I'm like, please, I'm coming from Howard Beach. Could you put it aside for me? And they're like, yeah, we'll put it aside. I'm like, I'll give you my credit card over the phone. I went down there, I got the game, I came back, and I swear to you, anytime I ever play Grand Theft Auto, I have never even tried to complete the game. All I do is drive around, cranking the different music channels, running people over to see how many cops could chase me and ultimately make me meet my demise. That's all I would do with Grand Theft Auto. So if this looks good and I get the computer version of it, that's what I'll be doing. I'll just be cruising everywhere and just trying to whack everybody. So, all right. Thank you, Johnny, for that. Eric Williams, thank you for the 2 spot. Am I doing a New Year's Eve show? Not sure yet. New Year's Eve is a Sunday this year. There is a good chance that I will, because I will be off on that Monday. And I kind of let the cat out of the bag yesterday a little bit early, but I did reveal that I'm going to get in touch with Kev to see if he wants to come on and do a Monday night New Year's Day episode. And, you know, we haven't talked about it yet much, but I know deep down inside, both of us are kind of itching to take back the crown of being the most listened to wrestling podcast these days, not named Cornette. But, you know, we haven't really gotten to that point yet. But I think New Year's Eve, New Year's Day is definitely possible. We'll see. All right. If anybody has any questions in the chat, just hold off for a couple of moments. I just want to plug This Week in Wrestling History quick. I promise you, I don't pull any stupid shit anymore. I pull good stuff. I got a couple of audio clips that you'll get a kick out of, maybe some you never heard before. But just to give you some plugs, Terry Funk made his debut this week in history. Ric Flair obviously had a big week. There's an infamous match with Abdullah the Butcher and Terry Funk that happened this week in history as well. Also, this week in history, Undertaker, big week for the Undertaker. You remember Tuesday in Texas, the infamous moment with Sable going out of the potato sack to reveal, what she had underneath. The first Raw cage match in history. Trish Stratus losing the women's championship to Lita on Raw. A match that WWE for a while would never acknowledge for some reason. This week in history, Gorilla Monsoon fired Bobby the Brain Heenan on Monday Night Raw, and he ultimately would go to WCW Monday Nitro. And also this week in 2002, it's only a minute long, but does anybody remember Paul Bearer appearing in TNA?
Here he is! Thank God! BG James came out with the chair to run the Harrises off. Oh, coming, believe it or not, to Raw the Truth Killings rescue! Just in the nick of time to BG James.
No, wait!
What the hell's that?
What?
What the hell is that?
BG James!
Whoa! So
You got to be kidding me!
Paul Bearer. They couldn't say Paul Bearer.
The other snakes put the boots to Killings. Oh, this is sickening.
What the hell is going on?
Sickening.
What the hell is going on? Wait a minute.
Now what?
The Paul Bearer!
Formerly known as Paul Bearer. What the hell's he doing here? What the hell is this all about? What's going on?
What is going on? Props if anybody knows who that is. It's interesting. You give Mike Tenay and Don West credit, God rest his soul, for all the energy they put in. But I will tell you this, as we play these video clips from time to time with TNA, don't they all sound the same? Isn't like everything a clusterfuck and you constantly with Don West, what is going on? It's like every single time. Every single time. Anyway, this week in history, Chris Jericho became the undisputed champion. Big week. Well, look at Shawn Michaels. Really provocative gesture, grabbing his penis on Monday Night Raw. If you go on Google Images, you will not find that screenshot. I had to put that together myself. And that was not fun to do. Also, this week in history, Impact Wrestling, TNA, announced that they were going to go head-to-head against Monday Night Raw on Monday, January 4th. That's when Hulk Hogan was going to appear. Obviously, that first night, I think, worked out well. Undertaker crucified Steve Austin this week in history. The trial of Eric Bischoff. The trial of Eric Bischoff, and who could ever forget Mae Young doing that little, Rikishi, Kiss My Ass Club, Vince McMahon kissing Rikishi's bare ass this week in history. CM Punk making his UFC debut. If anybody remembers El Único, who that was on Monday Night Raw, that was interesting at the time. We covered this week in history a lot of tribute to the Troops episodes, some Slammy Awards. Who remembers WWF Attitude Cologne? It's funny. I swear, all over my desk, I got to find one. Let me find one. And I know people know what I'm talking about. There's got to be one laying around. I have all over my desk buried Monday Night. Here it is. Look, samples of Monday Nitro Cologne. Goldberg was on the back of them. Monday Nitro Cologne. This week in history, WWF debuted Attitude Cologne. This was the commercial, in case you never heard it. Awful.
Attitude. You take a poundful of pain, add a touch of disdain, then throw in some Taker and Kane. Do you smell what The Rock is wearing? Asked a man with no sense of smell.
WWF Cologne for men and Eau de Toilette for women. It's 100% pure attitude in a bottle. To order, call 815-734-1161.
Phone is not active.
Visit the WWF website or send $19.99 plus shipping and handling to the address on your screen.
I smell what you're wearing, Daddy-O.
That was a legit commercial. I saw it when it first came out. I thought it was a joke. It was like, I'd be embarrassed to wear it. And that was Attitude Era. I mean, that commercial was just fucking cringe when it came out. And that's just the audio. Go watch the commercial. I don't think it's on YouTube, by the way. Let's see what else. Oh, Ric Flair. Woo! 18-year-olds come to my hotel room. Got arrested for road rage this week. We cover it. Also, anybody remember the night that TNA showed up at WWF New York? Yeah, I know. Clickbait.
Well, folks, early tonight in the Times Square paradise, better known as WWF New York, we understand TNA on hands. Oh, baby.
A pair of TNA PA shirts.
Yeah!
Testing Albert. It's not the TNA that you think it is. One more. Then we'll spend about 5-10 minutes in the chat answering some questions. So we'll go to exactly 2 hours tonight, cut it off. This is about 3-4 minutes long. I promise you'll appreciate it. We were leading into the Armageddon pay-per-view. This was in 2000. And The Rock was being interviewed in the back by Kevin Kelly. And The Rock was going to be facing 5 opponents at Armageddon for the WWF Championship. And this was The Rock's promo from that night.
Rock, we are less than a week away from one of the biggest challenges of your career, competing for the WWF title in a match you've never competed in before. A Hell in a Cell match where you and 5 other men
Finally, The Rock has come back to New Jersey. Just as sure as for the very first time, Kevin Kelly, The Rock, stood right in this arena and called you an ugly hermaphrodite, is as sure as this Sunday night at Armageddon, The Rock will be in hell in a cell. This is going to be the most brutal match The Rock has ever been in. The dangerousest match The Rock has ever been in. The Hell in a Cell. And it doesn't matter, Kevin Kelly, what you call it. Whether it's called a Hell in a Cell, a Rage in a Cage, Penis in Uranus, the only thing that matters is that The Rock is going in this Sunday night to do exactly what he does best, lay it to smack it down, and get back The Rock's WWF title. And the fact of the matter is this, is that The Rock knows this Sunday night he has his work cut out for him. The Rock knows he's got 5 other guys he's got to compete with. And even if The Rock has got to beat Kurt Angle, which means I'm going to drink a big glass of milk, eat some chocolate chip cookies, and then maybe I'll take 3 Viagra. Or maybe The Rock is going to face Rikishi, beat Rikishi. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. I did it. Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty. Or maybe even The Rock has got to beat The Undertaker, the American badass. Beat him so bad that one more time he'll raise up. Rest in peace. Or maybe The Rock has got to beat Triple H himself, which means he's got to beat the game in the middle of the ring. And he has a $2 slut for a wife. Oh, my. I can't believe he's saying this. Stephanie is not a... And there's one left. Or maybe The Rock has got to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin, which means I got to get in my pickup truck, drink some Steve Weisers, listen to some Backstreet Boys. What? Backstreet Boys? And that's the bottom line, because the great one said so. Backstreet Boys?
Bridge Boys, baby, but it's going to be every man for himself Sunday on pay-per-view.
And one more thing. This Sunday night at Armageddon, The Rock is going to do all he can to win the WWF title. If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Good shit. Good times, man. Good times. 23 years ago. Time flies, man. Time flies. So that's your preview. Interesting Dynamite planned for this week. Look at some of these matches you would think would be pay-per-view. Christian Cage will be defending the TNT Championship against Adam Copeland. We have 3 more Continental Classics. Jay White versus Jay Lethal. Swerve versus Mark Briscoe. Jon Moxley versus Rush. Tony Storm will obviously successfully defend the Women's Championship against Sky Blue. MJF and Samoa Joe versus the Devil's Rejects, as I prefer to call them. Very, very solid night. I don't know if they pulled 900,000 viewers, though. We will have a little bit of a conversation. The only reason why we didn't do a Wednesday Night Dynamite last week is because Kevin and I ended up doing 2 shows last Tuesday. And believe me when I tell you, if you haven't checked out this one yet, you should. We hardly did a review for Survivor Series. We talked about every match, but I'd say 75% of the show was aftermath. And a lot of what we said about CM Punk is actually happening. A lot of what Randy Orton is doing right now is actually happening. Some of the other predictions that we make going into 2024, we might run the table. And this was a spectacular episode. And also for all the Q&A that you all gave us on the community section on YouTube, we answered them all as well. So they're both available on DonTony.com right now, 100% free. And go check those out. NXT tomorrow night. I believe we're having a contract signing with Baron Corbin and Ilya Dragunov. Deadline is this weekend. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a recap and review over the weekend. I might put a poll up to see if we should or if we should just do a regular sit-down episode. I'm not sure yet. To be determined. But also tomorrow night, we're going to get the match that we told you about a month ago that they were preparing even before Alpha Academy showed up in NXT. We're getting the mixed tag match of Metaphor. Well, kind of -1. I'm kind of surprised they would not just throw Akira Tozawa in there just for the hell of it as well. But Alpha Academy and Metaphor will be going at it. Also tomorrow night, Andre Chase will be addressing Chase University in a storyline that I am not a fan of at all. I think it's jumped the shark big time. Second chance to be in that Iron Survivor Challenge tomorrow. Thea Hale versus Kiana James. Roxanne Perez. You look at their matches in the past. Let me go one step further. When you look at the participants in the deadline match right now, Kalani Jordan, definitely a future star. WWE, I'm telling you, she is a hidden gem in that NXT roster that not many people are focused on right now. Give some credit for Tiffany Stratton for what she has done. And she has definitely developed in a short amount of time with Becky Lynch, that feud that they did on the house shows. That definitely, Becky has done a lot. Lash Legend, a little bit of a shocker being in this match. And then, you got Blair Davenport, which for me, I personally think she is the favorite. So when you look at the second chance, match going down, who is the best person to put in that role? I kind of feel Roxanne Perez. I think you kind of need another baby face in that match. I think Roxanne Perez is the one to get it. On the men's side, you see this is the lineup for tomorrow. Javier Bernal versus Joe Coffey, Tyler Bate, and Carmelo Hayes. I mean, my God, look at the participants in the Iron Survivor Challenge. How do you not put Carmelo Hayes in there? How do you not tease Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams going at it a little bit. This is solid. You got Braun Breaker in there. I right now, the way it is, I think we could very well end up with Braun Breaker getting the win and having Braun and Ilya have another go around. I think that would surprise a lot of people in the match. But that's some of the matches going down tomorrow. I think that's all that was announced. Yeah, that's everything that was announced. So 2 second chance matches for the final spots in the Iron Survivor Challenge. So let's spend about 5 minutes in the chat. Just quick stuff. You know, don't tell me your 5 favorite Survivor Series moments of all time because it's late. But, you know, I definitely want to answer if anybody has any, you know, important questions that we didn't get into today. One of my predictions of Punk on SmackDown, cutting a promo, happy to be back, interrupted by Austin Theory or Grayson Waller, hits a go to sleep, end of story. That's what I see happening. Does Swerve win the AEW World title in 2024? I hope so. I hope so. I personally feel that, listen, I'm not putting on the level as Daniel Bryan, but the AEW fans have forced this narrative. There was no way, I don't care what people want to admit publicly, there was no way that AEW had Swerve Strickland winning the AEW World Championship in 2024. I think the fans forced it, and I think he is on some great momentum. And I think that there is a very good possibility that Swerve wins the AEW World title. I don't want to see, listen, with all due respect, I don't want to see him winning the Ring of Honor title. I don't want to see him winning a New Japan title. I don't want to see him winning a AAA title. I don't want to see him winning a TNT TBS title. I want him to see him win the AEW World Championship. He has earned it. He's earned it. He's worked his freaking ass off. I hope it happens. Bep is going with Fallon Henley. You know, with Last Legend in that Iron Survivor Challenge, I think Fallon Henley and Last Legend in that match kind of makes it a little weak, with all due respect. I think Roxanne Perez and Blair Davenport rekindling a little bit of that brawl is necessary. There's only one baby face in that match right now, and I think Roxanne Perez fills that role. Who's Jade's first opponent? No idea. We don't know if she's going to debut at the Royal Rumble. We don't know if she's going to debut in NXT. We don't know if she's going to lay out somebody on SmackDown. We don't know, and I brought this up yesterday, that they could do a storyline where, you know, like every manager wants to manage her. Raw wants her. SmackDown wants her. NXT wants her. You have Shawn Michaels, Adam Pearce, and Nick Aldis all arguing, trying to offer the world to Jade Cargill. You know, so they're going to tease that to death. There's no way you can predict right now what brand she goes to. You know, most likely people would think SmackDown, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair. Me personally, I think Raw. I think she's needed on Raw. Can't be Rhea Ripley versus everybody else. That's what it feels like right now. My fantasy in Ronda Rousey and Ring of Honor, we talked about that Saturday. She's not signing with AEW. Right now it was just a one-shot deal because they were in her area, and she was doing it to have some fun with her friend, Marina Shafir. There's nothing more to it. She talked to TMZ. She's not signing with AEW. She wants to be a full-time mom. If AEW offers her enough money and a very limited number of dates, she could sign. I don't see it happening. Let's see. Roxanne and Kiana seem headed for their own match at Deadline. Possible. But keep in mind, we already have 3 big matches, plus there's going to be a tag match involved. So, you know, it's possible. We'll see. Well, by tomorrow, we'll know. Cora Jade on Raw, that is definitely possible. Cora Jade, I'm a little surprised that they have not used her as much lately, but I think that will change in the very near future. Cora Jade, compared to a year ago, she's definitely improved. Some would argue that she's ready for the main roster. The problem is, how do you give her any momentum? when you look at even SmackDown and the caliber of talent there, how is Cora Jade going to leapfrog like 6 of those women or 7 of those women? It ain't happening. You know, when the time is right, if a slot opens up, God forbid somebody gets injured, that might be the perfect opportunity to promote somebody to Raw or SmackDown. All right, let's start wrapping this up. Did I see the fan attacking Grayson Waller at the live event? Well, I saw a fan in Jersey yesterday jump the guardrail, and security quickly took care of that. Drunk fan, you know, just getting a little bit loud with Grayson Waller. I mean, there was never any physical threat, but, you know, an idiot totally ruined his night for what? You know, jumped the guardrail. It was stupid. It only took one security guard to get rid of him, too. Yeah, Cora Jade did have a boob job. You could say it. Listen, she poses, if you see her pictures, she's very proud to show off that she got a boob job. Cora Jade is extremely attractive. Did she need the boob job? I don't think it's a matter of needing the boob job. If she wanted it, if she thinks it makes her look better, that's good for her. You know, I'm not going to criticize it either way. I think whether she had it or didn't, she is extremely attractive and she's very talented, and no complaints on either side for me. Liddell, where do I see Mercedes Moné returning in 2024? We had a tremendous conversation about this on Tuesday last week and yesterday. Mercedes Moné is returning to the WWE. She has embraced fans talking about her returning, bringing up the championship, bringing up Bayley. Triple H is leading the game, no pun intended. Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis pretty much don't have the pull like they used to. This is not the WWE of a year and a half ago. Mercedes Moné, WWE is making so much cash right now. They can afford to not only pay her comfortably more than what she was making before, but they will give her some additional freedom. A lot of these wrestlers today have more freedom than they had before. When I bring up the Twitch, bring up some of the social media platforms that they're on, and they're allowed to make some coin, cameo videos, you know, things like that. These wrestlers are on there now. Mercedes Moné will be back in the WWE in 2024. There is no reason for her. Let me put it this way. If she does not return to the WWE in 2024, it's only one of 2 reasons. Either she gets injured again and she can't wrestle, or she doesn't want to wrestle. There is no reason for her not to return. You strike while the iron is hot. She's training to return to the WWE. Royal Rumble, I think, is not out of the question. Might be a long shot, but it's not out of the question. Okay. I'm about to wrap this up. Just checking to see if there's any not important. I mean, every question's important, but Gordon is asking if Punk Rollins happens at Mania. Do I think it main events tonight? Yeah, I think it main events night 1. I think Rollins CM Punk has to main event night 1. Listen, be prepared for it. Sorry for saying this, and it's going to upset some people. Be prepared for these over-the-top fans that are going to complain that a women's match is not closing any WrestleMania. Let me put it this way. Rollins Punk will either be the last match on night 1 or the next to last match of night 1. And if that's the case, whatever match that follows it will be even bigger. And I don't know if there will be a bigger match than that. As of right now, I believe Punk, Seth will main event night 1. Kind of has to, if you think about it. If CM Punk is a step, slower, and WWE, I think WWE will be able to turn this into a masterpiece anyway. But honestly, I don't see what match could possibly happen to overtake Seth and CM Punk at Mania. you kind of feel like it's got to happen as a main event. So, all right, let's answer 2 more. Let's see. Going through. We talked about Ring of Honor, AEW, Mercedes Moné, WWE. As far as baseball, Ohtani getting $600 million contract, I'm not sure about that. Bobby's asking, could we see a storyline with Damage Control versus Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, and Mercedes? I doubt it. I doubt it for the simple reason that Dakota Kai is still, not back. And Becky Lynch is back on Raw. They're not going to keep having her flip-flop from Raw to SmackDown, unless something happens with the draft. I don't see it. I see Bayley and Sasha reuniting as a tag team. I think that's what the fans want, and I think that's great for Bayley. Right now, I don't see the 4 horsewomen going up against the 3 Japanese ladies and Dakota Kai. I don't see it. Punk versus Austin, realistic at Mania? No. Makes no sense. I brought it up yesterday. I definitely recommend, I know I didn't put up a synopsis yesterday because I got sick, but I recommend some of you want to check out yesterday. We had a pretty deep combo about Punk versus Austin. I'm not sure if I want that match to happen because that forces Punk to be a heel, and I don't know if fans really want to deal with that. And then Punk has to slow down his arsenal. I mean, Kevin Owens did a great job with it, but CM Punk, the momentum that he's on, you want a feud that blurs the line. And Steve Austin versus CM Punk might be a fantasy match for a lot of people. Maybe SummerSlam next year, but not WrestleMania. No. All right, one more. Okay, who's Orton get a few going into Mania? Well, for the time being, Bloodline. LA Knight, Randy Orton, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, definite possibility. I don't see Randy winning it, but there's another match that even though you know who the victor is going to be, you don't mind because you're kind of digging the match. Look at LA Knight versus Roman Reigns. We knew LA Knight had no shot of winning. Roman Reigns was like 5,000 to 1 odds, I think it was. But we didn't care. We just wanted to see LA Knight, see how good he can hang with Roman. And LA Knight proved that he could hang. One day down the line, LA Knight could be a world champion. So right now, anybody that faces Roman, you know who leaves with the championship. You got to come up with opponents where we don't care. We know Roman is keeping his belt, but to see Randy and Roman go at it, I think people would buy into it. Randy's one of those people that we'd be like, all right, yeah, okay. Even though we know what the outcome is, still, that's a match we wouldn't mind seeing. And with that, I'm out of here. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. And, keep supporting DonTony.com. Keep downloading those audio episodes. We are in the top 40. And, I don't try to downplay YouTube, but unfortunately nothing on video, is part of those stats. So you download the audio versions, and I put the link for the audio versions on YouTube as well, because that keeps us relevant and keeps us in the hunt. And the more, people realize that we're still doing shit, and, who knows what's going to happen in 2024. Some ideas are being thrown around, and I can't make any promises yet, but I will tell you whatever transpires in 2024. That'll be the 20-year anniversary of Kevin and I doing anything together. We weren't doing it full-time together in 2004, but he would make an appearance from time to time when we were doing Minority Report. So whatever happens in 2024, it'll happen because enough of you asked for it. And we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But if you're part of our Patreon family, I will be live on Patreon tomorrow. Yesterday, I uploaded the February 3rd, 2014, and today I uploaded February 10th, 2014 episodes of the DTKC show. That's the 2 weeks that involve CM Punk quitting WWE. Pretty interesting. If you look at the artwork on my Twitter I posted yesterday, we did a spoof of the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD, and we did one, the self-destruction of CM Punk. And the funny thing is, and I'll leave you with this, if you go and do a Google image search, type in self-destruction of CM Punk, you will see that someone did one this year, AEW version of it. If you look at it closely, they actually took the one that Kevin and I made 9 years ago, and spliced and, posted over it, try to make it their own. So, I mean, it's flattering and everything, but I was like, nah, we came up with that shit back in the day. Pretty interesting to look back 9 years and hear us just totally crapping, not only on WWE, but crapping on CM Punk for the way that he quit. So what a difference 9 years makes, right? My friends, have a good one. Be well. I'll catch you all again soon. Have a good one.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.